for tuning in to episode 46 of the Matt and Matt O-Scale Trainz podcast. I am one of your hosts, Matt Rochford, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Matt and Johnny. Matt and Johnny, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. We're back in action from our last one. We had a good time the last one, and I'm excited to see what we got here for this one today, too.
Yeah, that one was a doozy. That was a very long episode, but it's nice to get back into the swing of things again.
And just before we kind of move forward here, we did announce in the previous episode that we were going to announce the winners. So each one of us was going to pick one of the folks that sent in a question or a review, and we were going to do a prize giveaway. So the winners are just going to have to wait until the end of the podcast. So we'll announce that near the end, folks. So stay tuned. Just for a few maintenance items here. As always, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and Amazon Music. And then, of course, we're going to have to mention our Discord, which is over around 160 members, and it's free. And all you got to do is click on the link, check a box that says you're going to be a really nice person, and you're in. Talking to a whole bunch of folks, YouTubers, moderators, maybe even fellow local moderators that live near you. Like, you never know. So give it a try. If you have any questions, just please feel free to reach out to us. We also have an easy way to find us on the web. We have a new URL, super simple, m&mpodcast.com. So that's the letter M, A-N-D, the letter M, and then podcast.com. Take you right to our podcast homepage. And from there, you can get to all of our other links as well. So, and then, of course, last but not least, we like to talk about our merch. So we have partnered with redbubble.com. They are doing all of our merch. You can go to redbubble.com, and then in the search criteria, you can just type like Matt and Matt podcast, and will come up as, one of the search hits. But I'll put the exact URL link to our merchandise in the show notes. So you'll be able to find it quite easily. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Trainz.com. If you are looking for a great deal on used and new model railroading products and want top-notch service, then please head over to Trainz.com, where they have over 120,000 products with new ones added every day. You can also sign up for their newsletter to see newly listed and newly discounted products and receive advance notice of upcoming promotions. Now, I've been using Trainz.com myself as well as my co-hosts, and we highly recommend them to our listeners.
Now, if you're like us and you're always on the lookout for your next engine, join the Trainz Rewards program to earn points on every purchase and unlock future discounts. And if you're an avid collector and want first dibs on new items, sign up for the private car membership to get early access to new listings, earn 5 points per dollar spent, and unlock great benefits like no questions asked returns.
Now, guys, don't forget that you'll need parts to keep your engines and cars operating smoothly. And to do this, Trainz has a collection of 15,000 plus parts available on their website for any item you may need. And also, if you're interested in downsizing your collection or know someone who is unfortunately leaving the hobby, Trainz also buys collections. So head over to sellmytrainz.com to get a quote. And Trainz makes it easy to sell your collection.
Now, if you do plan on buying from them, please use our affiliate link, which is www.trainz.com/MMOP. You can also use our unique one-time promo code MMOP for $10 off a single purchase on the Trainz.com website. All right, folks, let's talk about tonight's episode. Tonight, we will be speaking with Nick from the PghTrainFanatic YouTube channel. You might also know Nick from his online store, PTF Designs, where he creates really awesome background flats for all scales. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you guys today.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for taking the time to come on our humble show here. You have definitely been someone that we wanted to have on. And of course, we're kind of limited to how many we can do per month. And you were definitely on our list to bring on. So we're really excited to have you talk to you, learn more about you, and have you talk about your YouTube channel and also your design store as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Matt, Z, and Johnny, do you guys have anything to say before we get started?
No, I just really big thanks to coming on, Nick. It's kind of been a little bit in the making here. I know you and I have talked about it, number of months back, maybe a year to this point, and we finally, got a chance to do it and all that. So I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I am too.
Yeah, really excited to have you on the show tonight. I know a lot of our listeners have a lot of folks probably grew up watching your stuff. I'm definitely one of them. So to have a YouTube juggernaut like yourself here on the podcast is really awesome. So thank you once again.
I appreciate that, Johnny. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get started then. So the format we have here is just I'm going to go ahead and ask our usual questions, and then I'll pass the mic on to either Matt or Johnny, and they can go down their list of questions. And let's just have some fun. So I'll start out with my first question I ask everybody, and that's when and who got you started in model railroading?
Okay, so this is a bit of a story. So I've obviously been into model trains since I was a young kid, before I can even remember. I have a very vivid memory of loving trains when I was younger and asking my father to build this layout. I'm like, let's build a train layout. I just remember, I think I was about 4 years old, maybe. And I think before you knew it, he was like down there in the basement building it. And the next thing I knew, it was up and running, and it was pretty big too. I'd say it was about 15 feet long and about 4 feet wide, like, about 2 sheets of plywood basically. And it was O gauge, of course. And, the tubular track and the Lionelville buildings. And I just remember just being in such awe and loving it, and going down there and spending so much time, running the trains, climbing on top of the layout and standing on it, playing with the cars and stuff as a young kid. And the love really came from going to like local places around Pittsburgh and seeing, the train layouts around Christmas time and stuff. We would go to the Carnegie Science Center, and it was like a yearly tradition. We would go down there and see the trains running around, and it was just always something that I loved, and it just really sparked an interest from a young age. And it was really cool to have. Unfortunately, that layout, we had that layout set up until I was about 8 years old, and parents got divorced. The house was sold, and then the layout came down, and ever since then, it was just like, as a kid, I would set up the trains, just like on the carpet when I had time. I still kept all the trains, and of course, and I still have all the same trains to this day, actually. But yeah, just from that young age and just going to all the local places really just sparked a lot of interest.
Yeah, it's always interesting hearing everyone's unique story about obviously how they got started in model railroading. And, most of the time a lot of the times it usually comes down from having, parent or grandparent or somebody else that is interested in the hobby. And then, you obviously get interested in it as well. And, it's kind of the same thing happened to me.
Right. Yeah. We had, like, both of my uncles were heavy into trains. Like one of my uncles would set up a big giant Christmas display on the floor, and I always remember that as a kid too. And then one of my other uncles is a collector, even still to this day, and dealer. So it was kind of just a whole family tradition. And I was into the hobby when I was young, and then I kind of got out of the hobby, and like a lot of people do, in their teenage years and early 20s. And then I got married, and we had our daughter, and that kind of led into, where the layout's at now and how that began, where she was 2 years old, and I remember saying to my wife, I'm like, we should build a train layout in the basement. And little did I know what it would turn into, what it is now. So, but yeah, just kept adding on to it. And I'm sure you guys know the whole story, but it's definitely been a fun experience, and I don't regret any of it at all.
Speaking of your daughter, and I say this as a dad as well, and I think our daughters are really, really close in age too. My daughter's 12. Like, try to get her into the trains. Like, has she helped you? Does she enjoy running the trains with you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I remember when I was building the layout, I think there's even a video on YouTube where you can hear her in the background and she's going, choo, choo. And like she, I remember her, helping me like crumple up paper to make mountains out of, with the plaster cloth. And so she has an attachment to that layout as well. I've talked to her about changing things. She's like, no, don't change that because, I remember doing that with you and doing this with you. And I was like, okay, all right.
No, that makes sense too, right? Because, those are memories that you get to share with dad, right? So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried as well too. Like, she's painted a few houses for me, and she's helped me with some of the vegetation and stuff like that. But that's about as far as she goes with it. That she gets kind of bored. She's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go do something else." I'm like, "That's fine." But yeah, that's fine, no problem.
Yeah, she's still into it. She's 14 now, so
okay.
She's kind of. She thinks it's cool, but the coolness only lasts for a little while. But I think she still loves it, and still she likes running the trains. And I give her the legacy remote. And I'm like, here, go to town.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit about your YouTube channel. So PghTrainFanatic. Where did you what was the source or the origin of that name?
Okay, so yeah, I was thinking about that before the show and everything, and I knew I always wanted to have a layout that kind of depicted the city of Pittsburgh, just from going to that Carnegie Science Center layout, and they have it's all Pittsburgh related items on there, like the steel mills and the local town and everything, and that was just something I always kind of wanted to model on my own. So I knew that it was going to be Pittsburgh themed. So when I was creating the YouTube channel, I was trying to incorporate the PGH, which is the abbreviation for Pittsburgh, into the name somehow. And then, of course, just TrainFanatic just kind of came naturally after that. Then that was back in around 2009, I believe. YouTube was kind of, obviously not what it is today. There was some people that were doing, model train videos, and I remember looking it up and I was like, holy crap, this is crazy, because I remember my trains when I was a kid and they were just like, the conventional transformer on and off, puffing smoke. And, I watched these videos on YouTube and I was like, holy man, this is nuts, with the sound and the smoke and everything. And I was hooked immediately when I saw that. And, when I started the YouTube channel, I figured, I'd like to document what I was doing and just kind of connect with people, because I saw videos where people were interacting with each other, and I thought it would be kind of cool to get involved with that. So it's really been, just from the very beginning, it was a great response from people that saw videos and, just talking back and forth with people and getting to know people. And it was great to just kind of help build that community up to what it is now.
Is, as someone who's not an East Coast person at all, is PGH the airport code for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's like it's the airport code.
Okay.
A lot of things around here do the PGH too in their names. So that's where that came from.
Okay. I was curious. I'm like, I'm trying to think of it. I'm like, PGH. I'm like, maybe that's the airport code, because that sounds like maybe what it would be. But okay. And that's interesting that everyone kind of like took that on and said, yeah, this is going to be what we're going to nickname Pittsburgh, or kind of go from there. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't really sure what to name the layout. It was kind of a up in the air type thing. And just in the middle of recording one of the layout updates, I believe may have been update number 4. I had just purchased an MTH flat car with the diesel switcher on the top, and it had the Pittsburgh Industrial Railroad on the side. And I remember in the middle of recording that video, I'm like, that'd be a really good name for the layout, the Pittsburgh Industrial Railroad. So I decided right in the middle of making that video that's what the layout name was going to be. It was just a funny, spontaneous decision.
So you've had your YouTube channel for around 12 years now. And I know your first train video or your first several train videos were the Lionel Polar Express. I think around your Christmas tree. I know you have a first one, which is I think like an actual footage of a real life engine. But just tell me, just talk a little bit about those first several videos and maybe what inspired you to just keep going.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it all got started. It was preparing for that Christmas that year. Decided that I wanted to do a train layout under the Christmas tree, and I purchased the Lionel Polar Express set. And after Christmas was over, I started thinking. Actually, it was even before Christmas was over. I remember thinking that I wanted to start a layout in the basement, and that's actually kind of what sparked the whole interest, was with that Polar Express set, which is funny, to be honest.
I asked this question to everybody. It's kind of I always get interesting answers. I think I might even know the answer for you, but what is your favorite railroad and why?
Okay, so everybody knows that my favorite railroad is the Pennsy. The reason it's my favorite, obviously, it's a local railroad here. My great-grandfather did work for the Pennsylvania Railroad in a roundhouse here, just in town, actually, which I didn't even learn until I was in the middle of, and into the hobby, and my dad told me about it. He was like, yeah, he worked down there, and I was like, I didn't even know that. And I love the Pennsy steam engines, and it just kind of grew on me, just learning all the history of the railroad, and it stuck with me.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I asked why is just to kind of get that information, because you can ask somebody what their favorite railroad is, and they can just kind of say whatever. But what I'm looking for is, why is it your favorite railroad? And a lot of people definitely have either their parent or grandparents or somebody worked on that railroad. Or, hey, that was my dad's favorite railroad, or, I used to go down to the tracks and watch it come down the tracks, stuff like that. And that's kind of what I'm interested in knowing, because that's the real value of having a favorite railroad.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. And just in the valley here where I live at, the Norfolk Southern Conemaugh line runs up, and I've even from when I was a kid, I remember seeing all the Conrail engines go by. And then now the Norfolk Southern. So even those two railroads have really, I guess, sentimental, if you want to call it that, purpose in my modeling. So, and they all kind of tie into to the Pennsylvania Railroad as their subsidiaries.
You're talking about Pennsy and their subsidiaries. Wouldn't you go in between Pennsy and Conrail? Where's our love for the near central? Come on, that's your favorite railroad? Come on now. You knew I was going to bring it up. Come on now.
I have one Penn Central engine. Okay, well, that's as close as I got.
Good enough.
This is probably a good segue into this next question. Speaking of favorite engines, do you have a holy grail engine, or perhaps a piece of rolling stock that has eluded you, like your white whale over the time that you're still looking for?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask this question, and there is the Holy Grail engine, and it has not been produced yet, but I have recently acquired one, as you guys probably already know. It's the Pennsylvania T1 duplex. That's my favorite steam engine, and I've been wishing for probably 10 years for Lionel to make a scale Pennsy duplex, which we all know that wasn't going to happen. And I did purchase an MTH Premier Pennsy T1 years ago, and I sent it off to Sid, and he did put Legacy in it. So that video is coming very soon on the channel, and it's just that is like my Holy Grail engine right there. It's a Legacy engine with the whistle smoke, and it's obviously my favorite steamer. So it's really cool.
I know when Sid was telling me when he was working on that engine and he showed it off, like, that engine is fantastic all the way. He did a great job on that one.
Yeah, that thing's beautiful through and through. Very, very envious of that engine. It sounds great, it looks great, and it runs great. So glad that you were able to finally get it into your collection there.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my one Holy Grail piece for sure. And I don't know if there's any rolling stock per se. I kept wishing for Lionel to make. I love the Lionel cars that have sound in them, and I kept saying to people, like, it would be really cool if they made more cars like the Vision Line cattle car, cars with pig sounds. And they did that. They put them in the catalog a couple catalogs ago. So we haven't seen those yet, but they're coming soon. And I think they need to keep running with that. It's going to be really cool just to hear those. They should do more cars with sounds on them. They're going to do the horse cars.
Yep, the horse cars are coming.
Yeah, I just think that's kind of something I kept thinking about. That'd be really cool if they made those kind of cars.
I mean, now they need to make a chicken car, and then we'll come full circle.
Exactly. Yep.
It'll be like we got our ham and eggs. So no, back to your what you brought up about the duplex. I find it really, really cool that instead of just waiting for Lionel to do it, you were just like, forget about it. I'm just going to get an MTH one, and then I'm going to upgrade it and put Legacy in it, and I'm going to make my own Holy Grail engine, which is pretty much what you did.
He said, forget about it.
That's right.
Yeah. Sid egged me on, and I'm happy that I went along and did that. It's really cool.
All right, well, let's pivot a bit here, and I want to talk about your PTF designs, and maybe number one is maybe a bit of history about it, and like what kind of motivated you to start, designing like background flats.
Yeah, so a lot of people ask that question, how I got into it, and when I was building the train layout. I remember looking at some sort of article in a magazine that showed buildings against a wall. And I thought, I want to make something like that for my layout. So then I started thinking of ways to print background structures. And I made a few for myself. And I remember putting them on the channel and having them in some of the videos. And people would either comment on the videos or email me directly and say, where did you make that? Or how did you make that? Can I buy one? And I started making them, for friends, a few people that I met off of YouTube. And I did that for, maybe a year or so. And as you all know, the hobby is expensive. So I started thinking, I could maybe throw a few of these on eBay and see what happens. And they went bonkers. I was like blown away. Like they were going for way more than I expected they were going to go for. So then I just kind of made some more, and they kept selling. So that's kind of where it all sparked from. It took off, and then since then I've continued to do improvements to the building flats. And what they are, they're just it's a foam core background building that's printed on vinyl, and there's no shine to them or anything, and they have LED lighting. Some of them have little fake smokestacks on the top with some smoke coming out of them to make it look like they're operating factories or what have you. And there's a lot of different options, and it's really grown to be very very busy, and I'm very thankful and happy with it. A lot of people were asking along the way, I was only doing O scale, and people would say, can you make this for me in HO scale or N scale? And I was hesitant. I didn't know how it would go. And I started to branch out into doing all the scales. So now I'm offering pretty much everything and anything from, N scale, even S gauge to HO and O and G scale as well. And it's surprising. There's people that are into these that are not just model railroaders too. There's other hobbies that people do, like car collectors, model car collectors. I've talked to people who run RC cars that have bought them the G scale ones for like their 124 scale cars. I had a guy who collected Matchbox cars that bought a bunch of S gauge buildings. So they kind of just branch out into other hobbies too. So it's really kept me busy, and I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, I mean, your buildings are super impressive. I like them quite a bit. I actually have one. What's awesome about your flats is that it gives people options, and it allows people with smaller space to give the illusion that it's bigger than it looks like, right? Especially people that have maybe layouts like in corners. Especially, obviously if you have layout against the wall and you're kind of like, well, I could put a backdrop there and that's fine. But when you can actually put buildings or little lighted buildings that give the illusion that, oh, hey, there's a little town back there or something, that's what's most impressive for me.
Yeah, exactly. It gives that forced perspective feel when you're looking at a layout. It makes it feel a lot bigger than it really is.
I remember one of the coolest things for me personally, because I've said this before at the beginning of the show, but I grew up watching your stuff, Nick, and I think the coolest thing is wandering into one of my local hobby shops. Matt knows because he's been there. Denny's out in Oswego here in Illinois. I walked to Denny's shop, and he's got his big jumble of stuff all over the counter. He's got Trainz everywhere, and I'm talking with him, and out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, that building flat looks really familiar. Hey, Denny, where'd you get this from? Oh, some guy, some PGH guy made this, and so your stuff has wandered into my local hobby shop and is just sitting in our local hobby shop. And the fact that your stuff's reached out this far, all the way out to Chicago, is really, really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. I've even done the same thing. I've gone to a couple shops and seen a couple of the building flats on the wall, and I'm like, hey, there's my building flat. That's awesome. And it's crazy. I sell them on eBay, so I did open up to worldwide selling, and I've been shipping them all over the world, really. Australia and China. It's crazy, all over the place. Just most of the sales are obviously US, but it's neat to think that you make something and it's going all over the world like that. It's kind of cool.
Nick, I want to ask you a question that maybe some of our listeners might have and that's, would you be interested, or do you do custom? If somebody has something in their hometown, or they can send you a photo and say, hey, Nick, can you make this into a flat? Is that something people can work with you on?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have a really high quality picture, that's definitely doable. I can do custom buildings like that. It is hard sometimes when people say, hey, I'm looking for this, and they don't have a picture to go along with what they're looking for, because, it's hard for me to just grab something off the internet with copyrights or to find that what they want to find, for me to go out and get the picture locally is hard as well. So, if if there's something in your local town that you're buying, you can get a very good quality picture of it. Yeah, sure. I can definitely do a custom building and I've done that many times for clients.
All right, that's awesome. And obviously, probably something that everybody wants to know, but like, what are your prices?
So I would say roughly for O scale, they would be anywhere from like $15.99 all the way up to like, over $125. But some the ones that are, say, like $125, they're large pieces with multiple buildings on them. So you're getting basically like a full city scene in that, and it's probably like 8 to 10 buildings all combined into one solid piece and obviously with lighting too, which is really cool.
Yeah, and anyone out there that if you're interested in, obviously we'll make sure Nick's information gets into the show notes, and of course at the end of the podcast, he can give that out as well. But just really fast, if you just go on the web and if you just go to PghTrainFanatic.com, that'll take you right to his website. And you can order stuff right from your online store, right? And as well as eBay?
Yeah. I sell on the website, like you said, eBay, and I've just started to sell on Etsy recently as well.
All right. Let's kind of go back to the specific O-scale model railroading questions. And I actually have one more for you, and then I'll go ahead and pass the mic over. But what is your personal take on the O-scale model railroading industry for the next 10 years?
I think from what I've seen in the past, I would say 3 to 4 years, I can see it trending up for sure. There's a lot of new young people getting into the hobby, which is great. And there's, newer and better technology coming out. And I can just see nothing but it going, in a better direction over the next 10 years. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we kind of feel the same here on the podcast, is that if all these manufacturers and all of these retailers, I think it's just important if they can grab these young folks and actually like advertise to these young folks that are coming into the hobby, I think it's going to be really, really successful. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that's kind of one of the things I always keep in mind when I do my videos on my YouTube channel. I always think that, I'm trying to help, put the hobby out there and promote it to young people and just show that it's a fun and cool hobby to do. And of course you don't have to go as crazy as I did, but, it's really enjoyable, and it includes a lot of different things too. You have to have skills with electrical and woodworking, modeling, painting, and all those different things.
No, I mean, go crazy, Nick. So we need folks like you that are making these really incredible layouts, and like you and Eric and and Chris and everybody else. So it helps us guys with the smaller layouts at least get a lot of ideas. I've definitely taken stuff from. I've been watching your videos for a long time as well. So, but I've definitely taken ideas that you've done and I've implemented them on a smaller scale into my layout, because I just like they look great and they're beautiful. They go along with my layout. So no, we really appreciate what you do and obviously your videos, and just keep on doing what you're doing for sure.
Yeah, lately the channel's kind of turned into a half of the Train Travel Network.
Hey, I like those.
Yeah, so they've gotten really great response. I'm going to try to keep mixing some of those type of videos in as well, and just showing different places around the country that you can visit and see model trains or model train stores, and it's and just keep promoting the hobby and meeting people. And it's a great hobby to meet people and talk about trains. It really is. I met a lot of great people along the way, people that I'm friends with, from the very beginning of starting the YouTube channel, like Jason and people that have inspired me, like even Eric's trains. I've watched his videos from the beginning as well, and there's a lot of people that I got ideas from too. So it's not just me coming up with all the ideas. Sometimes I'm seeing other people's ideas too.
Well, if you ever come to Chicagoland, please let myself and Johnny know, because we'd love to take you on the tour of all the hobby shops here. So
it's our specialty.
It is.
I'd love to do that. I'll take you up on that offer for sure.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you talking to me and answering my questions, but I'm not going to take up all the time, because obviously there are two more hosts here who have questions for you. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Mr. Matt Z, and I'm sure he's got some stuff for you.
All right, thanks, Matt. That was good. There were some things in there that I didn't know, so that's pretty cool, especially on the business side of things with the building flats. That's a really cool story there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
We go back a ways.
Oh, do we? I remember when you first started. I remember you in plywood, man.
Oh yeah. Matt and I we've been friends on YouTube for quite a while now.
Yeah, really much so. And so I say your layout. I remember when it was, I watched it slowly expand, and then remember watching your when you did the horseshoe curve. That blew me away. When you did that and you had it all scenic and everything. Oh man.
Yeah, I surprised everyone with that one. I decided I wanted to make that room into the horseshoe curve, and I started building it. And I think within, I went back and looked at when I posted those videos. It was like 40 days from the time I had the plywood up to painted walls and basically full scenery. It was crazy. I did it that fast.
Oh wow! So I guess I'll start with this. What kind of inspired you to make that room?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I never had gone to the horseshoe curve when I was younger. I never had made it up there, and then I went up, after I got back into the hobby, and I was just blown away with Altoona and being up at the horseshoe curve and then reading up on the history of it and everything. And I was like, this is really cool. I would love to somehow incorporate that into the layout. And I knew that I had that a little extra room, next to the layout. And so before you know it, I was cutting those holes in the wall and running track over into the next room. And also a lot of that room was, the scenery was inspired by a friend of mine locally. A lot of people remember his layout. His name was Patrick. And his layout was just unbelievable. This layout was just your jaw would just drop to the floor walking in this. It was so gigantic and detailed. And he had the rock faces like I made in that room. And he talked to me about how he made them and everything. And I was like, I got to do this. And he was like, yeah. And he told me how to make everything. So that's really where that stemmed from. And I learned a lot of my scenery techniques from him.
No kidding. That's really cool. And I noticed that you used Ross and Gargrave's track in there instead of using the fast track. What was with the change with that? Or just available or what?
Yeah. So I guess, when I first started the main room layout, I went with the fast track, and nothing wrong with fast track at all. I still like it to this day. But I just wanted to get a little bit more realism in that room. So I decided rather than using fast track in there to go with the Ross and the Gargraves track.
You do a lot of like really cool little scenes on your layout. One thing that comes to mind is like the engine facility where you got like the guy welding and stuff like that. What with the scenes like that, what kind of went through your mind with those?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when you start building a layout, and you have it for as long as I have, you start out with the rough idea. You want your engine shed to be here, and your switches and your sidings and everything, and then you get down to all those detail parts. And I wanted the layout to have like character like that, where you could get down and look at things and see, this guy was working on the train, or there was a hobo scene with a campfire and flickering LED lights, and just kind of capture different things around the layout and just kind of utilize as much space as I had. And not only that, just adding some humor as well.
Oh yeah. The little humor spots you got on there are really cool, especially in the horseshoe curve room. You got some really cool little fun things in there.
Yeah, for sure. So the layout is not done though, so I'm thinking of doing some changes to it. There are actually a lot of changes that I have been hiding recently. I'm kind of building up to another layout update soon, so that's going to be coming out on the channel pretty soon. And then after the layout update, I have a big idea that I haven't revealed yet. Actually, a couple ideas. So there's a lot in store still for me.
I'll be looking forward to seeing what you got going on. That'll be cool. And I have to throw a little homage here, because you're talking about cities and downtown areas. I say your downtown area is really cool with the trolley and the all your figures and the cars and everything. I love that area. That was great.
Oh yeah, thanks. That area really, it took a lot of planning and thought. I thought it out for a while, and I knew I wanted to add a streetcar and have it on its own little loop in there, because Pittsburgh had streetcars at one point, and I wanted the track to look seamless in the road. So I had to figure out a way to get the that track. I think it's the easy track it's called, where that's that real thin stuff that looks like a street. And then I put the cars in. I thought, oh, the cars would be really cool if they had LED lights in them. So I started opening up all the cars and installing LED lights in them. And it turned out really cool.
That's really cool. And thinking another thing, your yard that you got in the front beyond the city scene with the that was pretty cool too. I like that.
Oh, the yard extension that comes out like out of the room.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was. I really needed that for the storage, to store some rolling stock where it could sit there and be really available on the layout.
Cool. And one thing I wanted to touch, I know you mentioned it before, but your scenery with the rock detail and all that is just really great. I really like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's time consuming, but it's really great results. And I do plan on hopefully doing some like how-to videos on that. And I really don't mind sharing those techniques. That's something I kind of always think about that I want to do. I just got to find the time to do
it. Gotcha. Yeah. Please do. I'd be really interested in seeing how you did a lot of that. But like I said, it looks great.
Yeah, a lot of the products also that I use come from Scenic Express, like a lot of the grasses and trees and things like that. So, and they have great stuff, great products.
Cool. All right, so off of the layout, I wanted to talk more about something we kind of hit on earlier, is your collection and being, Pittsburgh themed and like in that general area. Your collection is really something. I mean, it's a very well-rounded collection of a bunch of things. Besides the Norfolk Southern and the Pennsy stuff, some of your other items like the UP stuff and like the hybrids and all that sort of thing. What kind of led to that?
Yeah, that's just one of those main ones when you see some other stuff that doesn't really fit the layout per se, like the Big Boy and the FEF. Just they're really cool engines. I have appreciation for that, that Union Pacific steam program. And I always wanted to have a Big Boy. And it's, that when I saw that Vision Line one in the catalog years ago, I was like, man, I don't know if I can do it. And then I got talked into it from a friend, and I'm glad he did. So it's really neat to have, a little bit of mix like that, and just kind of mix it up every now and then.
Cool. It's always good to have some diversity in your collection.
Yeah, for sure.
Heck, even Jason, we say all he has is black and white, but he's got some other things in there too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
I really like the Nickel Plate Road 765. That's one of my favorite engines. And the 611J, that's an awesome engine. I'm just trying to think of some other engines I have that are not Pensy. And like you said, like the GE hybrid, and that's a great engine as well. I got really lucky on that one. I bought that engine a couple years after it was cataloged and released, and as many people know, those engines were going for crazy money, and I got lucky and found one at MSRP, and I jumped on it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And you're welcome for that 611, by the way.
Oh, that's right. You did find the 611 for me.
I did, yeah. I remember he was looking. You're welcome. He was looking. I'm like, hey, Nick, I found you a 611. You'll hook me done.
I forgot. I totally forgot. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Matt always says I'm the master of finding things. So,
yep, you definitely found that one.
Very cool.
You're also the master of reminding people you found them.
Yeah, right. There you go. Right, that's it. I think that's all I got. So, Johnny, let her rip.
All right, let's do it. All right, so I'm gonna go down a little bit of go in the past here. I'm gonna go kind of some things I remember watching in your videos growing up, and I think one of those things has to be, for me personally, is one of the engines that's the most synonymous with your channel, or at least in the early days. Tell me about the Western Maryland Challenger, both your Lion Master one, and I believe you got a scale one eventually. I don't know if you still have it, but tell me the decision behind those engines.
Yeah, so that's really good question. I remember wanting a steam engine at the time when I was first, building the layout, and I think I saw that Western Maryland Challenger on eBay, and I just kept looking at it, and I'm like, man, that thing is nice. And I ended up being the first steam engine that I purchased, with Legacy at least. And I love that thing. I ran it on all those earlier videos, like you were saying, and that's really the only reason. I just like the look of it. I wanted a Challenger, and it was as close to local as I could get, and it was definitely a fun engine. I unfortunately never had a scale one. What happened was Lionel released a second version of that engine, that Lion Master, with the whistle steam, if you remember.
I believe so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one didn't have the whistle steam, and then the second one did. I ended up grabbing the one that had the whistle steam. I had that one for a few years, and it got lost in one of the layout, or not layout, the collection thinning processes.
Oh, gotcha. It's a beautiful engine, though. It definitely inspired me to get a Lion Master Challenger later when I started getting back to the hobby. It's just one of those engines that they just sound amazing. You can't pass them up. They
really do. They're awesome.
For sure. And I know Matt Z touched on this for Horseshoe Curve. That one is really stunning. I think it's one of the most iconic parts of your layout. And I think one of the things that really blows me away when I see it is the fact that you didn't just do it one height. It is a multi-dimensional scene. Like you dropped it down in certain areas. And I think, didn't you add a bridge later on in the process?
Yeah. So like in that Horseshoe Curve scene, and thank you, by the way, the Horseshoe Curve scene does have like the track is at the table height, and then the layout slopes down to like a lower scene where the parking lot and the gift shop are at, and even a little bit of the lake there. And even there's a road with the tunnel going through the mountain, which is just like the road that's in real life, where you can drive through the tunnel under the curve like that. And around the other side of the curve, I did add a stone bridge. It doesn't really go with the whole Altoona theme, but I really thought that a bridge would kind of look cool in that spot, and it also drops down to like a water scene below, and it turned out really cool.
It's absolutely stunning. It adds that layer of depth and a little bit more of even a bigger wow factor to that room, if that room didn't already have enough of a wow factor. And I love the fact that you wrap the mountain around the entire room. Like, you have a wall that doesn't have Trainz on it, but you still brought the scenery around. So you really feel immersed in the scene when you're standing in that room or you're taking photos or video. It looks great.
Yeah. I did do that. It looks really cool too whenever you stand back and when I'm getting video for, obviously for YouTube, and you can see those mountains on that wall that you're referring to that doesn't have a layout on it, and it just makes it feel like the scene just keeps going on and on. It's really neat.
It is. Now, you'd mentioned you've added a couple water features here and there, and I would be not be forgiven if I didn't mention this. So what's the inspiration for the infamous I'm on a boat tugboat there that was added to the layout?
That's funny you brought that up. I don't even know. I think it was that song was kind of funny at the time, and it was really popular. And I recall, when I was building the layout, I kept in those layout updates, I kept talking about, I'm gonna make the river scene soon. And I think when I finally got around to making the river and having that water scene, I was just like so pumped up. And I thought it would be kind of funny to put some characters on the boat and they'd be on a boat.
I love that. When that video came out, I was laughing. That was great. It's a very, very nice scene as well. And the fact you went out as your way to make barges as well was really cool. I think Matt can remember this as well.
I do that Black and Yellow and Eye of the Tiger. You gotta love it, man.
Oh, those are classics.
And Crazy Train.
Yeah. I've had some pretty memorable layout updates, I would say. And there's a playlist on the channel you can go to that it has all the layout updates in order. So it's kind of cool if you're a new listener and you didn't get to catch any of those, you can always go back and watch them. It's an easy way to find them.
Oh, for sure. I think you did not so long ago, you did a 10-year anniversary special where you kind of you put all clips from the different videos into one. That was a really cool video. Yeah,
that was, I started thinking about that a couple months ahead of time. And I was like, I'm coming up on 10 years and it'd be kind of cool to kind of do a flashback. And that video, it did turn out really cool. It just took little snippets of all the layout updates and just kind of showed all the progress. It was pretty neat. It was one of my favorite videos, actually.
It's a really cool video, and anyone who hasn't seen it or someone who's watched Nick's channel and just want a nice nostalgia trip, I definitely recommend it. But yeah, really cool. Moving on, last layout question at least. So you have something that I think is really unique that I don't see anybody else, at least from my viewing of YouTube, that has it. What's the inspiration behind the incline railroad?
Oh, the incline. So the incline, there are actual inclines like that in Pittsburgh. There's a couple of them actually. And one of them is the Duquesne incline, which is the one that I sort of modeled. And then there's the Maud incline. And I think I was going to say, I thought maybe I might have uploaded a video actually riding on the incline once. I don't recall if I did or not, but either way, it's if you were to look it up online on Google, I'm sure, or even on YouTube, I'm sure you could find video of those incline cars, and the mountain that they go down is crazy steep, and it was the way that a lot of the people that lived on top of the Mount Washington would travel down and get to work in the city. in the past.
Yeah, it's really cool, and kind of seeing how that progressed over the years. And I think a lot of folks will be like, "When's Nick finally gonna build those cars that ride on the incline? You just got a giant slope of track." But when you finally built those cars with the incline rear, those came out amazing. Are those scratch built?
Yeah, they're scratch built actually out of HO scale passenger cars, and I originally made that track. It was O scale track originally, and I ended up changing it to HO scale track. So there's two tracks side by side, just like it is in real life. And when one car goes up, the other comes down on the incline, and it's pretty neat. And this is something that I kind of giggle about. I have yet to motorize that. I really would love to motorize it. I just don't know how to do that yet. I have actually a motor. I just don't know how that's going to play out yet. So it may happen soon. I don't know.
Hopefully it does. That'd be really, really cool. Maybe you could pick Sid's brain. Maybe he'll have some ideas.
Yeah, definitely. He's the one to talk to about that kind of stuff.
Right. All right. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit here and touch on something that we haven't brought up yet. I'm going to ask you about your live streams that you did, because you've done quite a few. Now, maybe one of our buddies who listens might get really excited about this question, but what's with the cookies, man? Got to ask you about the cookies.
The cookies. Oh my gosh. I don't know how that happened. So the cookies, somebody brought up in one of the chats one time during the live show. They were like, said something about cookies. Like, are you going to bring milk and cookies next time or something? And I was like, what the heck are they talking about? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll bring cookies next time. So I came to the next live show, and I was sitting there eating cookies during the live show. And then I found that Freight Sounds car with the cookies on the side of it from Lionel. And that was, that gave everybody a pretty good laugh too.
It fits into the theme. I feel like I can't pinpoint either, but I have a sneaking suspicion. I bet you our good buddy Burnsy probably snuck in something with that. It sounds like something he'd say, "Nick, can I have a cookie now?"
That's probably what.
That sounds very much like him.
Yeah, that was probably Burnsy for sure.
But yeah, you do some really awesome running sessions when you do the live shows, and it's always a blast. Have you ever had any oopsies or snafus that happened during the live streams that were kind of scary by any chance?
Oh yeah, I had quite a few actually. I had engines, derail. I had a couple that ran into each other. I had one jump the track and ran into the side of the tunnel portal.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there was another time, I believe, I was trying to pull like 100 cars with the big boy, and I think I got up to like 90 cars, and they turned over on one of the curves. All the cars spilled over on their sides.
Oh no! I've had that happen before when they kind of shoestring themselves and just all tip over. It's scary.
Yeah, that happened to me, and I think some of the cars that tipped over had some loose stones in them, so there were stones all over the layout.
Oh, no.
I had to sit there and pick them up.
Well, I bet it was a riot for the stream, though. I bet everybody was like, even though it was like a hassle, I bet people still enjoyed the stream and had fun, though. Those were very fun to go through.
Yeah, they were fun to do, like during the lockdown time frame, and it's although some of those times that I just talked about were very stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can imagine being a live show and having your trains not go flawlessly, but I bet you they're fun memories to look back. Yeah,
but that's Murphy's Law, though, because if it's something's got to go wrong, it's going to go wrong during the live stream.
They know when you're live.
I had the same issue. Like I had never had issues on my layout before, and then I do a live stream, and it's like.
Your couplers
every single one of my couplers was like opening up constantly. I'm like, what is going on?
Chris always said the trains know when you press the record button.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
On the real quick, I love the live stream where you guys were doing the jelly beans in the car.
The jelly beans for Easter. I think we were doing that. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was slight incentive to get my daughter Lily interested to be down there for the live show.
You were watching the hockey game on one of them?
I'm sure. Yeah. There is a TV down there, so sometimes the game gets turned on.
There you go.
There's a game on.
The game is perfect combo.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, those streams are a lot of fun, and if anybody wants to catch one of those, I know you have them saved on your channel, so I definitely recommend checking those out. But I'm gonna step away from those. I'm gonna ask about a couple other things, and then I'll finish up here. You've also got a couple other side projects and side layouts that you've worked on. I know you have your winter layout. I think you did an N scale layout and a garden layout, I believe you attempted. What was inspiration on those?
Yeah, so the winter, I'll go on to the winter layout first. So that one, I wanted to have a place to run conventional trains, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a winter scene and have like some carnival rides. My daughter, she really wanted to have carnival rides after we visited one of the local Christmas displays. They had all those carnival rides from Lamax, and so we decided to do that, and it turned out pretty cool. I will say this, that layout, we are going to be doing the last running session on it very soon. So just so you know, that's kind of coming up close in the near future here. So it will be the last running session on that layout. But it was part of a layout update where I called it the 4 seasons, and I kind of turned the layout into having like a summer area, spring, fall, and winter. So I'll just put it this way, we're losing winter. So, and then you mentioned the outdoor layout. So that was kind of funny. I did do an outdoor layout in the past. I used the Atlas track that doesn't rust. It has like the nickel rail, and I had it running for about a year, and then it tumbled over on the hillside in the winter, and it didn't work out the next year. So it came down, and then I think it may have been last year. I was talking about doing an outdoor layout, and that kind of lost its I guess interest because I was too busy doing some other outdoor projects, so it kind of got brushed aside. And it's still kind of, I've thought about it, but I'm not sure if it'll be permanent or if I'll just do some other area where we can, temporarily run trains outside maybe in the future.
Gotcha.
I also had an N scale layout planned, and that's probably not going to happen either. Just because of some other things I have in mind. We'll just leave it at that.
Gotcha. I'm interested to see what you got planned. And then actually I've got one last one, and I think this is a little bit of an open-ended question, but since you've been on YouTube for such a long time, for at least 10 years, I want to ask, in your time on YouTube and with the online community, how has the online community changed for Trainz? Do you think it's going for the better? Is it going for the worse? What's your personal take?
No, I'm glad you asked that, because I felt like I skipped over some of that in the beginning of the chat. And it, when I first got into YouTube, I met a lot of great people, and I think the community has gotten a lot better actually, and there's more people engaged, and there's more people sharing their layouts and their trains that they're buying. And I think it's going great, and I wouldn't have anything bad to say about it.
I'm glad to hear that the community's become stronger and that things are going towards a positive future. That's always great to hear. But that is my last question. So I'll return the mic to the center here. If Nick, if you want to chime in on something, or if any of the Matts want to put in some of closing remarks here.
Well, the only thing I can say is it's been a fantastic interview, Nick. I think we hit everything we wanted to hit. I don't have any more direct questions for you, But I did want to say again, like, just thank you for just taking the time to come on our podcast. We absolutely love talking to all of the content creators and, all of the big names in O scale. And you're definitely one of them. So we really appreciate your time and coming on our show as well.
Oh no, it's my pleasure, and I'm honored to be on the show, and it's been truly a pleasure to speak to everybody and just reach out to the community and just keep building more friendships. It's great, and I see nothing but going in the right direction in the future.
Yeah, thanks a million times over for being on, Nick. Really appreciate it. Really fun episode, and it was really nice to be able to ask some questions that I've been wondering for a long time. So thank you, man.
Oh yeah, no problem. Absolutely, you can ask them anytime.
A +1 for sure, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a long time coming, Matt. I'm glad we made it happen. And if you ever guys want to have me on in the future, I'd be more than willing to. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll take you up on that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, I believe that wraps it up. Nick, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah. So on YouTube, you can look up PghTrainFanatic. And of course, you'll find hundreds of videos that I posted there. You can find my website. It's PghTrainFanatic.com. I'm also on eBay. The username is, again, PghTrainFanatic. This is kind of the theme. It's easy to remember. On Discord, I'm on Discord. It's also PghTrainFanatic. On Facebook, I have a Facebook group called PghTrainFanatic. My personal account is on there as well. And then also on Etsy, my Etsy store is also called PghTrainFanatic.
Excellent. And Johnny, how about yourself?
You can find me on YouTube at Audamus. That's AUDAMUS. You can find me there screaming at inanimate objects and getting hit in the face with boxes. And occasionally I'll upload a train video. I've got a Class A video coming out soon, and I might review one of the forgotten Lionel Medias that came out. You can also find me on Instagram at Audamus_Trainz, and also the same name on Facebook, where you'll find me uploading train videos a lot more than I upload on my channel. And last but not least, you can find me on the Matt and Matt O-Scale podcast Discord server. You can see me commenting on the chat and making a fool of myself on the voice call. So come on down. It's a fun time.
Matt Z, how about you, sir?
Real quick, Nick, you forgot to mention your buy-sell group.
I actually forgot to mention a couple things now that you say that. So there's a couple buy-sell groups on Facebook that you're referencing that I'm the admin on. The one is called Lionel Legacy Trains, and then I did another group that's called Anything Goes O-Gauge Trains. I am also on Instagram. The name is also PghTrainFanatic. You can find me there.
Oh, cool. Just I thought of that when you were doing your social media plug. I went, wait a minute. I thought I was thinking about the Facebook group.
There's so many different. I'm on all of them. Basically, just put in PghTrainFanatic and you'll probably find me there. TikTok. Yeah, I did. I just opened up a TikTok account actually. And it's PghTrainFanatic.
He's everywhere. You can't miss him.
You can't. No. It's
you'll run into him. He's all over the place. Anyway, you can find me on YouTube under Matt-TrainLover9943. Facebook under the same name. On Instagram is Matts.hobbies. And I'm also on the Matt Discord server, like Johnny mentioned, usually editing a sound set or doing something with the trains. But in any event, having fun, no less, and having a good old time. So, come on in, say hi, just have a good old time. So, all right.
You can find me on YouTube at West Chicago Monterey Road. Also on Facebook under the same name. And I'm also on Instagram under WCMRR. Now, folks, I did not forget, we're going to announce those winners. And Nick, you are the winner of all 3 prizes. No, just kidding. No, obviously joking. So let's go ahead and announce the winners. So obviously, if you had sent in any kind of question or did a review or anything else, the basis of our decisions we were just going through them, looking for really good questions or something that we felt at least to us on an individual level that we really enjoyed that question. There wasn't any not picking out anybody in particular here. It was just random kind of I really like that question, and that's how at least I picked mine. And I'll go first. And the winner for me is Mike H. Mike H., thank you so much. I really enjoyed your questions about, you're just talking about the retail industry with O-Scale. And you had a few questions, but I know you had 2 questions that were alike, that you're just kind of talking about trending and internet retailers. And I just thought that was a really important question, especially with the way things are now and kind of the direction the O-Scale industry is headed. So thank you, Mike. I know you're in Discord, so I will get in touch with you there, get your address information, and send you out that mystery prize. So who wants to go next?
Me.
Okay.
All right. So for me, I'm going to choose the question that I personally reference a lot and talk about a lot, and it's the community-based items. And this was from PRNJRR, and said he was talking about the Discord server and the O-Gauge community. And you guys know that's a huge thing for me. And so that question really stood out to me. So I know you're on Discord as well. So I said, I'll be hitting you up and we can get the item out to you. But so really big thanks. And for everybody, for all the questions and comments and everything, like we mentioned the last one, that was a ton of fun, and would love to do more of those, and we will. And just really a great time doing that one. And this one too.
And that leaves, last but not least, the final winner here. So for my personal choice, the one I think was the most fun and one that made me smile, it definitely made us kind of think about our collections a little bit more and our buying habits. That comes from Tom Fall. The question about why we buy boxes of train items and hide them under the layout and forget about them and never were able to sell them. That was a really fun question. I'm pretty sure Matt Z likes the mention of train boxes. That always gets his ears to perk up there. But I love your question. Yep, right. But I love your question. Really stood out. Really fun. So you will also be getting something from me. And we will find a way to reach out to you so we can get that on to you and on your way. But thank you for the awesome question, everyone. We really enjoyed it. Made me smile to read all your questions on the Discord and all the comments and reviews you guys left. And like Matt said, hopefully we shall be doing more of these soon. So keep an eye out for those.
Absolutely. Would love to do a lot more of these, and we actually will. So everyone will get a chance to send in their questions and reviews. And again, keep giving us those reviews, folks. It's really important. Let people know about the Discord. If you can leave a review on whatever podcast social media app you use, some of them you can't, but I know some of them you can leave like stars, or, if you can just leave a little blurb about us, we would really appreciate it. Because again, like we always say, this podcast wouldn't exist without the listeners. So thank you so much. And again, Nick, thanks for coming on. Johnny, Matt, it's always been a pleasure, gents. And with that said, everyone have a wonderful night.
Take good care, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. Have a good night.